I guess foot is equal to 3 feet in real life. So if this is 2, that means the study is actually going to be 12 feet long. If this is 3, so the scale is not 1 to 3, it's half to 3. So how many halves are in 3? There's 6. So 6 times 3 is 18 feet. This kitchen is going to be 18 feet long, and so on. And then there's nets. The net of a 3D shape is what it looks like. If it is open out flat, a net can be folded up to make a 3D shape. I'm sure I remember if you were kids, if you were kids or when you were kids, perhaps you did this in school where you cut out, and most schools and teachers, they usually do like a cube, make like a dice or something. But you can make a nice little triangle. You can make something like this, something like that, something like this. Very easy. Easy. Then we got the pattern of the objects, all the individual pieces that went into making it disassembled. It's a pattern. All right, unit 1 trig. Let's go. We're gonna solve some trig stuff, make a triangle, SOHCAHTOA, sine law, cosine law, break the correct formula, ratio. Substitute the given information and then solve. All right, so what's going on here? If you remember, the law of sines, or sine law, can be used when you have 2 sides and 1 opposite angle, or you can be given 2 angles and 1 opposite side. The law of cosines is when you're given 2 sides and 1 included angle, meaning the angle between those 2 sides, or you're given any 3 sides and the objective is to find any angle. And I should have mentioned the objective here is to find the side opposite angle, meaning you're finding the remaining side that's missing because you're given 2, right? And in sine law, you're looking for the angle opposite the side, or the side opposite the angle. That's what you're looking for in this scenario when you're given 2 angles and 1 opposite side. Let's see how we do this. Determine the measure of an indicated angle. So we're looking for this here, that's called theta. Right away, this is called, or this is a right angle triangle. Since this is a right angle triangle, I know I'm going to be using something called SOHCAHTOA, which is just, forgot what the word is when you use an abbreviation to memorize stuff. Or you use this, I'm not sure exactly what it's called in English anymore. I should Google it. But anyway, so this, I mean, I know a mnemonic device is used to help you memorize certain things, so I'm not sure if this is called a mnemonic device or something more, if there's another word that better suits. So sine theta is equal to opposite over hypotenuse. Cos theta is equal to adjacent or hypotenuse, and tan theta is the opposite or adjacent. You need to know how to label your triangle. So the very first thing that you should do is label the side that's opposite the angle you're looking to find. This is opposite. Then you should label the hypotenuse. That doesn't really matter which one you label first. Whichever one, is easier for you. And the final one is adjacent. So you have your opposite side, you have your hypotenuse, you have your adjacent side. In this example, we are given our hypotenuse and our adjacent, meaning the formula that we're going to use is that sine, cos, or tan. I'm going to actually ask the class this time, so I'm going to wait. Okay. So the formula that we're going to use has to have the hypotenuse and adjacent sides. So which formula has that? Sin has hypotenuse, but it has the opposite side. Tan has opposite, but it has the adjacent, but it has the opposite side, so we don't need that. But cos, however, has both of the things that we're looking for. So the correct answer in this case is going to be cos. Cos theta is equal to adjacent is 15 over 38. And the way to do this is to now do 15 divided by 38, shift to the decimal. And then take the cos over, do the inverse cos. If both I'm rounding to the nearest degree here, so it's going to be 67 degrees. It was 66.7, but I rounded up. That's it. Pretty easy stuff. All right, another question for the class. We got a triangle here. This is not a right angle triangle. So automatically, I'm going to give you hints. We're either going to use the sine law to figure this question out, or we're going to use the cosine law. Guess what my question is to the class? 50-50 chance of getting this one right. Last time there was 3 options, so it was a bit harder. But now we have 1 and 2 chances. What is the answer? Are we going to use the sine law, or are we going to use the cosine law to solve for our unknown x? Type it in the chat. For this one, we have 2 angles that are given. Usually, whenever that's the case, it's going to be sine law. Because cosine law is just when you have no angles given, or when you have the angle that's in between your 2 sides given. That's cosine law. So just kind of a reminder. Cosine law, either no angles are given, or usually only 1 angle is given. So in this case, the answer is sine law. We are going to use sine law here. Hopefully remember what sine law is. Sine law is sine of A over capital A equals sine of B over capital B equals sine of C over capital C. Now, these capital letters, where do they come from? In this example, since your vertices aren't labeled, or your corners aren't labeled, you can just label them A, B, C. It doesn't really matter. You can do A something, B something, C something. What matters is you know the rule of triangles and the naming convention. If your corner is capital C here, then the opposite side is your lowercase c. And the same for B, capital B, lowercase b, capital A, lowercase a. So we're going to now substitute these numbers into our formula. So lowercase a is x, so we have sine x over capital A, which is 67. Wait. Sorry, I I made a mistake somewhere. I was like, this doesn't seem right. I guess I could see. Sorry, the capital goes with the sign because the capital letter is the angle. So would it make sense for the angle to not have sine or cosine in front of it? So that's a hint that you can use to remember the formula. If you forget which number goes with sine, it's always the angle. The angle always goes with your sine or cos or tan. So let's do this again. So we have sine 67 over x sine. Oh, we don't know this, so keep it capital B, I guess. And we don't know B either, so. And then sine 58 over 24.5. Now, you have to choose two of these fractions and make them equal to each other. And I'll give you a hint. It's not this one. Because the reason why I say it's not that one, we don't have any numbers in this fraction. We don't know the top, we don't know the bottom. So it doesn't make sense for it to be this one. So the two that we're going to use are this first fraction here and this second fraction here. And we're going to make them equal to each other. So I'm going to have sine 67 over x is equal to sine 58 or 24.5. And I said this a lot, but whenever you have two fractions equal to each other, you cross multiply. So now you're going to have 24.5 times sine 67. If I write it like this, everyone knows that this is multiplication. No one thinks that it's going to be 24.5 plus sine 67. That doesn't make any sense. But if you really want to, you can use brackets. I recommend using brackets whenever possible. So here we have x times sine 58. And you can obviously put brackets around both things. That's fine too. It's up to you. At this point, you have two options. You can either actually plug in the values in your calculator and calculate the numbers, or if you want to do it all in one step, or if you want to do the algebra part first, doesn't really matter. So I'm gonna write these out now. So what is 24.5 times sine 67? So let's do sine 67. You get a decimal 0.9205. I'm going to times it by 24.5. And I get 22.55. And sine 58, well, that's just 0.848. And I'm just going to keep 2 decimal places for now. But in my calculations, I'm going to keep all the decimal places when I'm plugging the numbers in my calculator. So I'm going to divide both sides by 0.848 or sine 58. Same thing. Cancel, cancel. X is on this side, and now we just do the math. $26.6. I'm rounding the final answer to 1 decimal place. So x is equal to 26.6. So 26.6 is the side length there. That's the answer.